Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
The power of life, that we have all been blessed with, that energy of life. It's in each of us. You're all breathing, right? Everybody here? I'm just checking. All breathing? Okay, energy of life. What are you giving your energy of life to in your life? What are you giving your energy of life to? Are you giving it to your problems? Are you giving it to your fears? Are you giving it to your worries? Are you giving it to your dreams? Are you giving it to your hopes? Are you giving it to spirit? How is your energy of life serving you? We'll start with some funny quotes about life. Comedian Stephen Wright: "I intend to live forever, so far so good." Jerry Seinfeld: "Make no mistake about why these babies are here, they're here to replace us." George Carlin: "Life is a near-death experience." Tom Stoppard, playwright: "My whole life is waiting for the questions to which I have prepared answers." Charles Schulz: "In the book of life, the answers aren't in the back." And Woody Allen: "Life is full of misery, loneliness, and suffering, and it's all over much too soon." So life, it's one of our 12 powers. This is the last power that we're exploring as part of our summer series, where we're exploring our 12 powers. These are our 12 divine faculties that make up our Christ nature, our own true nature, our divine nature. The power of life is our ability to energize, to vitalize, to animate, and invigorate all that we do to make ourselves whole and to be healthy. So that's the balanced expression, the spiritual expression of the power of life. We can be out of balance with the energy of life, and underdeveloped energy of life may show up as lethargy, laziness, couch potato, binge watching TV, kind of thing. Overdeveloped can be anxiety, frenetic, chaotic, very, very busy. So we want to come into the middle and really find a balance, a spirit-centered expression of that power of life. Now, life can sound like zeal, which is a power I talked about 2 weeks ago, which is enthusiasm. So if you remember when I talked about zeal, I talked about that zeal is like the two-stage rocket. That zeal is the power that gets you going, right? Gets the rocket off of the launch pad. Well, life is like the second or third stage even of the rocket that gets it into orbit, okay? So you'll see, you can have the zeal and the enthusiasm to get going on something in your life, and then you might fizzle out, right? But life, the energy of life, that's the vitality that keeps you going and moving through it. So I want to talk about some aspects about this power of life that we all have and how they show up for us. And the first one that I want to explore is animation, the ability to animate. The animating power of life is life's forward, onward, and upward impulse. And so I wanted to share with you someone who, just want to tell you about a life of someone who so fully expressed this power of life in an amazing, miraculous way. And this is someone who I had the opportunity to study with in my teens and 20s. I was dancing professionally, studying dance, and I had the opportunity to study with a master teacher, an innovator in dance, just famous teacher, and his real name is Eugene Louis Facciuto. I want to make sure I get that right. Yes. And he's known as Luigi. Anyway, you hear of probably Lynn, who's dancing tonight, Luigi. And he had this phrase that he would always say, which is never stop moving. He taught us that, never stop moving. That life energy in us, we want to keep it moving. It's got to keep in the flow. We talk about being in the flow of life, and that is how he lived and expressed. I'm going to tell you a little more about him. That I had the opportunity to study with him at his studio in New York City, Luigi's Jazz Center. And there are great Broadway performers in his class. So many wonderful people were drawn to him for this technique. I would take class, and Liza Minnelli would be there, or Tony Roberts, or just these wonderful performers. And so really, he was just such a gift to the world of dance. He was given this nickname, Luigi, by none other than Gene Kelly, who is a wonderful dancer, choreographer, of course, from all the big MGM movies. And it was also, his name is Eugene, so he gave him this nickname, Luigi. He's a friend of Luigi. My teacher, Luigi, was born in 1925. He was a child performer. He did acrobatics and dance and sang with a big band. He was a performer and was continuing to pursue performing opportunities in his life. And when I first started learning his dance technique, before I met him, I studied it in college. I was a dance minor in college. And in my jazz dance classes, that was the technique we were taught. To how to learn proper technique was Luigi jazz technique. And what I learned about him is he had this 8-year career in film, being a chorus dancer in the big golden age musicals, MGM, that like An American in Paris, Singing in the Rain, Bandwagon, White Christmas, some of my all-time favorites. I hope you've seen them. I grew up watching these movies, and he worked with Fred Astaire, of course, Gene Kelly, and Judy Garland, Sid Charisse, Bing Crosby, and Leslie Caron. I remember learning about how he had an accident which caused him to do this rehabilitation work and create this technique and then teach it. And when I heard about that, I thought, well, he had this career, and then he had this accident, and then he went on to create this technique. And what I later learned, as I got to know more about Luigi, is that this accident actually happened when he was 21 years old, before he had that film career. Luigi had, he was in Hollywood. He was on his way to buy ballet shoes. And the driver of the car he was in lost control. It was a rainy day in Hollywood, lost control of the car, and Luigi was thrown from the car, and his head was crushed against the curb. He almost died. He went into a coma that lasted many days, and the left side of his face and the right side of his body became paralyzed. And he had such damage to the muscles in his eyes that he got double vision. Doctors had little hope that Luigi would recover at all. They had no hope that he would walk again. 21 years old. And so Luigi is in this paralyzed state, told him, hopefully you'll recover. He came out of his coma. And Luigi knew, despite appearances in his body, despite the conditions of his life, that he was going to dance again. He heard a voice, a still small voice within him, and this is what he said that the voice said. Never stop moving, kid. If you stop moving, you're dead. Don't ever stop moving. And this voice, I don't think this was a harsh voice, because when I took class with him, he would be dancing and he'd go, never stop moving, never stop moving. He'd just sing it. It was a part of who he was. This voice was like a gentle, caring, this is a voice of spirit within him, I believe, that was speaking to him. And Luigi had to have great faith to listen to that voice, to believe that he could dance when he was told, probably not gonna make it, maybe. You know, I mean, there's no chance you're gonna walk, right? He listened to that voice. I want you to think about where you've stopped moving in your life. Is there an area of your life where you've stopped moving, where you've said, well, No, I just have to accept things as they are. Maybe there's not going to be love and forgiveness there. Maybe there's not going to be hope there or success there. Is there an area of your life where maybe you can bring some of that life, energy, and movement there? Have you given up on something because of a diagnosis? Luigi could have given up. So now's an opportunity to engage that power of life, to take a step forward, to take that first gentle step, spirit-guided step. Now, the second aspect of, the first aspect I talked about was animation. The second aspect of the power of life I'm going to talk about is vitality. Now, Luigi didn't want to only just survive. He could have survived and lived in a wheelchair and had support throughout his life. He wanted to thrive. He wanted to thrive. Vitality is that thriving aspect of the power of life. The word vitality stems from the root word vital, which means essential or necessary, having energy and the ability to thrive. So Luigi's desire to dance led him to teach his body how to thrive, how to move correctly. And while he had, I have to say, here's some wonderful music that I might want to dance to here going on. While he had months of conventional therapy, he discovered that what he was doing in his own listening to his body and retraining himself was actually strengthening his body more than the therapy was. He was able to regain control and strength faster. He had to learn the hard way to bring his body back into movement, and he learned by shifting from outer focus to inner focus, to listening to his body, to paying attention to his guidance. He would always teach that the way you dance is from within out. From within out. You're not just moving your head, you're moving from the center of your being, your energy coming out, and that there's energy going beyond your fingertips, beyond your head, your toes, out. So your body doesn't just end. Very unity sounding to me. He was a very spiritual teacher for me before I found unity, that this was this deep teaching that he taught that he discovered within himself. And this is what he said about how to dance intuitively. He was teaching people how to dance intuitively, very different than any other way that I've been taught to dance. This is what he said. Feel from the inside. Don't be distracted by externals. Focus on your body. Don't do anything that hurts. Don't pretend. Don't do anything faster than you want. Watch it, feel it, and then move. Wonderful advice for all of us. Feel it from the inside before you take action on something in your life, rather than taking in information from other people telling you what. Feel it. Listen to spirit. Don't be distracted by externals. Focus on what's within. Focus on what your body's telling you, what spirit's telling you. Don't do anything that hurts. Don't do it. Do what feels good. Don't pretend. Don't try to be something that you're not. Be authentic. Don't move faster than you want. Be gentle with yourself in expressing life, especially moving out of a certain condition and wanting to come into a greater expression. Watch and pay attention, then move. It was this holistic approach to dance that he expressed. He talked about isolation. And when I was first taught jazz before I met Luigi, there was something called isolation. Isolations that you'd isolate the rib cage, you'd isolate the shoulders, isolate the head, isolate the hips, isolation. And he said that dance isn't about isolating. It isn't about isolating. It's about using everything inside of you to make a sound. He said, I don't separate the body, I keep the body connected. I've always used the good to make the weak stronger. The right side helps my left side, the upper torso helps the lower torso, the body works together as a whole. So we're talking about wholeness. We're talking about these 12 powers working together to express the wholeness of who we are, the light that we are, the Christ that we are. But what part of your life are you trying to isolate and keep out of that? What relationship, what condition, where you go, okay, I'm whole, I feel complete. As long as I don't have that person in my heart, as long as I don't give attention to this thing going on in the world, as long as I don't buy into the things that we try to isolate out of our heart, out of our lives. And it's this teaching from Luigi, these teachings of unity, is we want to experience our true wholeness. We can't isolate and leave things out. We've got to come into forgiveness. We've got to come into love and connection in order to know our own wholeness, which allows us to experience wholeness in our lives. So there's no wholeness in isolation. And I thought it was a beautiful teaching about how he called upon the side of his body that wasn't paralyzed to strengthen the side that was paralyzed, and that's how he came into movement. Now, Luigi, as far as I know, when I met him, he had double vision. That's what I saw. I could tell that he had that he danced through the paralysis. He danced through it. He was able to make his whole body dance beautifully, and he wanted people to see how, they wanted them to notice the beauty of his dancing and not notice the conditions. He danced through it and was able to bring that energy of life, that light, that Christ-light energy in and through his body, and he expressed wholeness despite the conditions of his body. He went through a process, where he came up with his jazz dance technique is he did an intense questioning in his body, checking in with his body, asking what the body needs, how to come into balance, and he created this warm-up routine called the Luigi Jazz Warm-Up. That's his technique. He discovered that the answers to healing him were within him. It was just amazing, just a walking miracle. So when he went back to dance classes, he did the physical therapy. When he was able to go back, he went back in a wheelchair. He didn't just hop right up and start dancing. He went back in a wheelchair, right, paralyzed on one side of his body. He had to be wheeled in. He would try to dance, and he fell over again and again and again. And so many times that the owner of the dance studio told him that he got so much blood on the floor because he kept falling over that he was going to ban him from the studio. He kept trying until he became strong enough to stand and dance at the ballet bar. He didn't give up. He recognized that if there's life energy within him, there is the potential to dance. He never gave up on himself. Miraculously, within a year, he began walking back into the dance studio and working through his paralysis to dance. And he had to learn to stand. He knew he had to learn to stand without holding the bar in order to dance. And you can't just dance at the bar if you want to really be a dancer. So one of the things that he taught is your space is your bar. And this is amazing. The power of imagination. He said your space is your bar. Use the space around you. So you don't have a bar. You imagine a bar is there. And I don't have my dance shoes on, but just if I was going to go in a releve, so I was going to go up on my toes, that rather than think go up, I'm thinking press down. And think about how much more stable that is in dancing to press down and how much longer I can hold that releve and stay up on the balls of my feet. So what this means spiritually is that whenever you need help, whenever you need to come into balance, that there's a power within you, that there's support around you. We forget about that there's support around us, that there's this invisible support. We think God, sometimes people get confused when we talk about oneness and think when we say that God is within you, that God's only within you. No, God is everywhere, right? Not just within you and immanent and transcendent, within and everywhere present. That support is around you. So you need a bar, imagine that bar. You need support, imagine that support. There is support around. When you start thinking this is the kind of support I need in my life, it will show up for you when you take action and step forward and call upon that support. It is already present in spirit. So Luigi knew within him, you're going to dance again. That the power of life within him was not going to give up on him. The power of life within you is not giving up on you. No matter what conditions there are in your life, if you're alive, you're breathing, you're here, there's still the chance to fully express whatever it is that you're here to do. It may look differently than what you imagine. Things change in your body or in your life. You accommodate and you learn. And when you come into the wholeness in that, when you discover your wholeness, you become a teacher for other people and you really make a difference in the world. So Luigi, he was able to stand, be at the bar, have no bar. He went on, he studied with some of the world's most renowned dance teachers who inspired him to dance again. And so only 2 years after his accident, he worked, obviously, painfully. It was difficult. He transformed his body, was able to dance through this, danced so beautifully that a talent scout from Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer spotted him and brought him to Gene Kelly to audition for On the Town, a really great film, and he was hired for that. And so 8 years of movie musicals, and he would do this warm-up routine. And the dancers in the musicals would be like, what is that? I want to learn that. That's something I think would really help me, prevent me from having injuries and improve my technique. And they started following him, encouraging him to teach classes, and he developed this following of students in Hollywood. And he did a lot of things in addition to films. He choreographed for nightclubs and television. And he went on to New York and performed in 4 Broadway shows and assisted choreographers in those shows. And he discovered that his true passion, the true work that he was here to do, is to teach this Luigi jazz technique. So he let go of performing. He released performing, his first love, to commit to teaching classes because he saw the power in changing people's bodies and lives through the work that he did, that he discovered within him, through his guidance within him. And he opened up his own school called Luigi's Jazz Center, the one that I told you that's there. It's still there. You can still take classes there. This is his book. This is my teacher. This is a shadow of him. And you have to go to the website to get this book. I don't think it's on Amazon, but this is all about Luigi. And he has a wonderful teacher, Francis Roach, who I've also taken classes, who teaches there at the studio. He had a legendary roster of performers who were his students, including Alvin Ailey, Michael Bennett, Madonna, Anne Reinking, Donna McKechnie, Twyla Tharp, John Travolta, Susan Stroman. If you're in dance, you probably know all those names. If not, you probably recognize a few of those, right? And there are many, many more. There was no impact, no limit to the impact that we can make in the world beyond our circle of experience when we follow the guidance of the life energy within us. When we come into an experience of wholeness, we become a teacher for others. And so the third aspect of life that I want to share with you about is presence. The presence of life. Can you see it? You can see it expressed in people, but the actual essence of it, that spirit, vital essence, you can't see. It's invisible, right? Presence is not visible. It is the vibrational evidence of life. In unity, we call that presence our individuality. Now, Luigi, why he is able to dance through his paralysis is he danced from his essence. He danced from his individuality, not from his body, not from his personality. When I was in class with him, I knew from his presence that he loved us, he cared about us, and he cared about the health of our bodies, that we were dancing correctly and with good technique. He said a good teacher knows how to prevent injuries. A good teacher is looking out for their students, teaching correct technique. He said, if you keep doing things right long enough, they'll get better right. But if you keep doing things wrong long enough, they'll feel right wrong. So think about some things maybe. Maybe there's something, I don't know, maybe not. But maybe there's something that you've been doing, a habit, that feels right wrong. You've gotten into a routine of it. Maybe there's something you can turn around in your life, and it's going to take some practice to begin to turn it around and feel that the right way feels right to you, to to move out of that routine. He also taught, when dancing, you must not intellectualize. Forget about yourself, for right now you are not you. You are tuning up your body to become sound. Imagine your body becoming sound. That letting go, and this sounds like meditation to me. Let go of the intellect. Forget about yourself. Right now, you're not you. You're not your personality. You're tuning up your body to become sound. When I think about that sound, like I'm the radiance, the expression, the vibration of light, of the love that I am. That's how he danced, and that's what he taught us. When we meditate, when we practice meditation in unity, we are practicing being the expression of light and of love, being that vibrational energy. Finally, he said to dance, put your hand on your heart and listen to the sound of your soul. Close your eyes for a moment, put your hand on your heart. Listen to the sound of your soul. Vibrating energy of life within you. It's unlimited. It is wanting to be directed by you. The many options and choices and opportunities available in this life. You're here on this planet. Infinite potential. And so know that all things are possible. It may look differently than you first thought. It's all possible when it's there in your heart. My teacher, Luigi, left this earthly plane just a few years ago at the age of 90. So he danced for 69 years after he experienced that accident. Teaching. He would sometimes teach 3 to 4 classes a day. He was amazing. Amazing person. If you're breathing, that life energy is wanting to express in you. So my task for you is, as Luigi would say, never stop moving. Move forward on what it is on your heart to do. Bring your strength to your weakness. You have some weak aspect or something in your life. There's something about you that you have a great strength and ability in. Bring that to it. Get the support that you need. Feel that support around you. Your space is your bar. The space of spirit around you is supporting you in the realization of the greatest love and the deepest faith and the most wonderful life that is inherent for you. And so let us join together in this affirmation as I close my talk today. Divine love fills me now, making me whole and well. Together. Divine love fills me now, making me whole and well, and so it is.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.